Good afternoon. I am glad to see that we had some faculty and staff and students brave the weather. We were really hoping for blue skies and warm weather, and we wanted to pack this room. But the good news is, because you're all here, you are going to have an inside preview of our newest upcoming project, Residence Village. And so the one thing I would ask is we have a full presentation, and our presentation team is going to allow some time for questions at the end of their presentation. So I'd ask you to hold questions until the very end, because I think they will get to your questions. So it's my pleasure to introduce our presenters today. We have Terry Miller, one of our project engineers. Dallas, I think, is on the road trying to get here. We'll see if she makes it. Javier Esteban is a project architect. And then John Reiser is going to be construction manager. So will you join me in welcoming them to campus? Terry, I will turn it over to you and your team, or Javier.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's see if I make it work. I'm always blamed that I'm coming from St. Louis, that every time that I come here, there is always a storm, something happened with the weather. So I really apologize up front Okay, so I can tell my skills are not the best. Okay. There we go. So the project consists on 122 beds in a combination of apartments and semi-suites. It's a 43,452 square feet of building on 4 floors. The construction cost is $10.9 million, and it's a sustainable building. From the beginning, we were making sure that there were sustainable concepts that were applied to the building, and one of the many options that we have, or many tools that we have at our disposal in order to make sure that it's a green building, it is what is called green globes. It's one of the processes that are used to track the amount of recycled content and dust proof, and making sure that the ductwork is clean, and make sure that the amount of trash that is generated is controlled, and so forth and so on. And some of the materials are consistent with that. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. So the building, it is located right south of the Courtyard Residence Hall. It is, and in fact, one of the major points is we're linking to the existing stair that is there, so a student can go from the courtyard, swipe the card, security is very important, and you can enter to the new residence hall, the residence village, which allows you to go, or you can go out from this point, or you can access to a food and beverage venue that is going to be part of the first floor of this building. It is one of the major principal elements is creating community and allow the students to really interact a lot. At the same time, we were very conscious on not to take too much real estate, preserve as much as possible the amount of parking that is there, and connect and enclose a avenue, and making a connection to the rest of the campus. Make sure there is a continuity, you don't have to cross on the street, there is a green space, and it's not only just that the building is close to the rest of the buildings, the academic buildings, but it's also a perception that is really close. And so, okay. So these are some of the exterior renderings. Did I jump one? Yes, 1 second, sorry. Okay. So this is a rendering from the back of the building. Okay. Leave it here. So this is a rendering from the back of the building. You can see the connection to 8th Street will be here. So we're really trying to make safety is extremely important. So really we made a difference and a clear effort to differentiate between what is traffic for the parking, what is traffic for the service of the student union, and what is pedestrian traffic for the students, and making sure that there are two separate things that don't cross each other. As well as you can see, all the parking for the courtyard is a lot of it is respected there. You have the four-story buildings, and it's a combination of brick and concrete. It's a concrete precast concrete, and we will talk about later about that. But it makes trying to link with the elements and colors that are part of the campus. This is a view from the north side, looking at the south. And this is a look from the south. One of the things that we wanted to emphasize is, you see there's a clear distinction between the windows that are part of the residence halls, part of the bedrooms. And then the larger windows, this is looking at the south, trying to bring natural light deep into the public spaces of the students. All the lounge spaces, and we have some kitchens. There are the students in the first and the third floor, so the students can participate of it. And we make sure to have large window and glass openings, basically for this purpose. Okay. So there is one more, yes. This is an eye view, and that's the main entrance right here. You'll see we really are expressing those spaces that are part of the the community building students. And then we have the residential units that are a little more residential scale, basically. Even though they are fairly large once you are into the bedroom itself. Again, another just for a little farther south. And they're talking about the floor plan and the strategy that was used for that. I'm going to leave Terry to take it, and hopefully she will be much more versatile with this.
Unlikely. So this is the first floor plan. The first floor plan looks a little bit different than the floors up above, obviously, because this is where you come into the facility. So just to orient you, north is this way. However, this is the main entrance, which is what Javi had pointed out, adjacent to all the glass. And that's why you see the lounge here, because that is where all of the common and community spaces are. He briefly mentioned also that the kitchen is here. This is a community kitchen that can be used by all the residents, depending on doesn't matter which floor you're on, but there is a kitchen on the first and third floor, and there's a lounge on all floors. Here you can see some different color coding, and really all that is indicating is different unit types so that you can sort of associate without really studying it which is which. We have what's called a retail space. We're going to have a food and beverage retailer on site. Mechanical is all gray because that's all the boring stuff that nobody wants to know about anybody. But one thing that is gray, Corey's mad at me now. The one thing that is gray that is important probably to everybody that would be living in this resident is the on-site laundry. It's got, so you'd have access, the RD office, or what does it say, RD? Sorry, the RA office, RD office, sorry, RA workroom, and the vending machines. We have also in purple, which it would be, and you'll see this on the next floor as well, is the Unit Bs, which the Unit Bs are the semi-suites, and they have 4-bedroom units, so there would be 4 roommates. Then we have Unit C, which is in blue, and then the unit, I think it's E, correct me if I'm wrong, in sort of a gray. And those are 6-bedroom units, but there is some variation within these units that indicate that they would be a different type. And then towards the end, you can see the courtyard stair connection, and that's like Javi said, then everybody from both can kind of communicate and create one huge community within this area so that we can tie it all together. There's also an elevator. I was told by our structural engineer that that's very important because then when everybody's moving in and out, there's 2 staircases, obviously. There's several access points to get in and out of the facility because we know that people come from all over the place on campuses. Now I'm going to try to do this, see if it works. Point up. Oh no, now it's going to go again. Darn it. I'm not any better, Javier. So this will be the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floor. So they will all look the same with the exception that on the 3rd floor, there's an additional community kitchen. And that community kitchen is spaced up here and ties into this area so that there's a lot of usable space. We envision this being something that within, if you want to have some friends over and you want to hang out, have maybe some food or just even chill, this would be a great place for that. Also, you'll see that on this floor, there's a study room. You also see a few more colors in on this floor because there's a couple more different unit types. Some of the difference is also that some of these units are more accessible than others. Some of these are considered more ADA accessible than others based on some of the showering facilities, some of the clearances. However, all of them will be adaptable. It'll just depend on what the arrangement of the bathrooms are. So we'll go over some of those differences. This is Unit A. This is what I would consider to be a fully accessible unit just because there's a full roll-in shower. But some of the other features about this plan would be that there's 2 vanities. So then if somebody's using the restroom, somebody else can be out getting ready as well, brushing your teeth or whatever to get off to class, and you're not all just tied to one bathroom, which is really helpful. This would be 4 bedrooms. Everybody has a closet, and this living space would be kind of a nice area for everybody just to communicate, hang out together. Patience. Unit B. This one is actually interesting to me because knowing how it is to get ready with a bunch of other people when you're in college, the toilet and the shower are separated, so people maybe that shower at night, people that shower in the morning, you can have separate, but there's also the 2 vanities out front as well, so that helps with flexibility of everybody's schedule. This also has the living room, and this would be considered one of the semi-suites as well. And this is Unit B. This is one that you've probably seen the most on the different floor plans. Unit C is one of the 6 bedroom, and like I said, there's some differences in the restroom layout, but this one has a separate living and separate kitchen area. It is the 6 bedroom, so this would be considered one of the apartments. One of the things that I would like to point out that I haven't pointed out on any of them, but they have all been labeled, is that each of them has their own mechanical room, and that may or may not matter to you until you decide that you would like to be able to have some flexibility in the temperature in your unit. One of the things that's unique about this resident hall that I've not seen in some of the others that we've done is that there will be some flexibility with each apartment or semi-suite to control that for comfort. So some people like it 60, some people like it 80. There will be some flexibility within controlling that temperature within your own unit because the type of unit that we're specifying is one that is such that you can use the cold from one side of the facility to cool off the other, so it lends itself to a lot more flexibility for the end user. Unit D, the one thing I want to point out about this is that the RA unit is here. We have an exterior door that accesses right from the hallway, which is kind of nice just because then if somebody needs to come talk to the RA, they don't have to wake up this 5 other people that live here. Or if the RA wants to have their door open for a little bit of time, they can obviously do that without interrupting the rest of the group that they're rooming with. This still has the outside vanities, has the 2 restrooms, and then also incorporates a nice kitchen area. Unit E. This is 6 bedrooms, but it has more of the accessible restroom within it and lays out so that there's four of these within the facility as well. Since Dallas isn't here, oh, she is here. This is Dallas.
It's bad visibility out there right now, guys, so just be prepared. Hi, I'm Dallas. Sorry I was late. I traveled up from Brookings, South Dakota. I'm also an instructor there. I teach interior design, and then I consult with Architecture Incorporated and continue my commercial design career path. And so I hope you're enjoying the presentation, and we're kind of getting to the fun stuff now, in my opinion. I could be biased. But we are kind of in a unique situation because we are a team on this project. So KWK does kind of a lot of the heavy lifting in the design realm. And then Architecture Incorporated has to come back and start to incorporate their ideas with our ideas to give you a really well-rounded design. And so the one great thing about KWK is they have great designers on staff. And so they kind of started and led the path on what the aesthetics of that interior were going to be. And then the architecture team, Brianna and myself, kind of took that as a basis of our design per the interior architecture, as well as some color placement. And then we looked at DSU's branding package, which was a huge part of really making this dorm feel like home here. And I personally feel like DSU did a great job on the branding package because it goes from that 2-dimensional design to a 3-dimensional design pretty seamlessly. They have great colors, great shapes, great application of how those need to be applied within those design realms. And so what we did is we really focused on the hexagon, the vertical hexagon, and made sure that we brought that to the forefront with materiality and signage. And then we also looked at their Pantone colors and helped us pick out the DSU blue, the dark blue, and then the gray schemes that they have. And so when you walk into the facility, we wanted to make sure that the new residents and any guests that came to the facility knew where they were. You're at DSU, and so there'll be a nice, beautiful big D in the hexagon logo. And then to the right of it, we were hoping to have tack boards so that you can see what's going on campus, the organizations that are occurring, and kind of give you a nice place to hang stuff so that we can keep the quality of the facility at its all-time high. In addition to that, as you can see in this rendering, we have a nice area for coming together in social realms where you can have community dinners or do your homework. Very versatile space, but once again, you can tell in the backsplash that we're bringing in that university logo and shape design. Do I have to push this? Oh, doesn't, sensitive. Oops, lies. And then to the left-hand side as you walk into the facility is more of the lounge space. And we really wanted that to be versatile and functional because a lot of us will be doing different things in that space. And so we have an area where the TV can be hung and you can watch, Game of Thrones or just hang out with your friends. And then there's areas where you can do homework or just sit and chit-chat. But once again, a lot of natural daylight and then bringing in that hexagon, again with like the colors or the shape, and then the colors of the variances in gray in the facility. In addition to just paying attention to DSU's branding, building off of KWK's great design, we really have to focus on wayfinding in a space. And what wayfinding is basically letting any user who's maneuvering through the space understand where they are and not get disoriented. And so we did that by doing a couple things. First, we changed the carpet at like where your stairwells come in or your elevators come in, much like this rendering, the lower left. We also gave you number wayfinding, so 1, 2, 3, 4. We also gave you a shape to look at, so first floor and third floor will have the hexagon. Second and fourth floor will have more of a diagonal pattern to it. And then we also did it by color. Why do we address it by so many things? Well, each of us are so individual that some pick up numbers, some pick up colors, some pick up symbols. And so by addressing wayfinding in multiple ways, it kind of helps us communicate to the vast variety of people that use the space itself. We also addressed it by lowering the ceiling height as you come off the stairwells or come off the elevator, and we changed that materiality into more of a gray ACT versus that white ACT to help you really understand that this is a moment of circulation vertical. And then horizontally, we address circulation in the context that each unit at their doorway will change the carpet color to the more blue kind of tech pattern. And then we will change the color around that doorway to help signify when you're going down the corridor, because it's a long corridor, it's kind of like The Shining, that, that you don't kind of get lost and you can start picking up where you're at, if that makes sense. And so this would be an example of second and fourth floor. So you can notice on that first rendering, it was the dark blue DSU color, and now we're going to more of that aqua DSU color, changing that wayfinding signage symbolism. And much like the first floor, we also have a commons kitchen upstairs because we want you to get out and socialize. We don't always want you doing homework. And here we've given you that versatility of how you can use the space, having it be homework, hanging out, eating, chilling, whatever you want to do. But the big thing to also remember, beyond branding, beyond building off a team, beyond wayfinding, is that when we pick out finishes, we talk a lot about aesthetics and how pretty they are. But in all actuality, when we put together this palette, a lot of things that matter to us was beyond the aesthetics, right? This is a tech school, so we wanted like an edgy design, but we also wanted that to last for a while. And so what we ended up doing is really looking at the durability of the products we selected, making sure like the fiber type and the carpet was gonna hold up, making sure the tile was the appropriate, making sure the wear layer on the LVT was accurate. But we also look at the warranty on the products. We look at the maintenance. Is it gonna be something easy for DSU to maintain long term? And then we also look at the, did you guys talk about Green Globe? We also look at the sustainable characteristics and make sure that we're hitting what we need for those sustainable credits for the Green Globe. And then lastly, after all of those considerations, we end up having to make sure it fits budget, which at the end of the day kind of drives the force of the nature. And then, of course, there's the interior environment that you're going to live in. So these social environments, you just interact on a short amount of time. But then your units itself, we wanted to make sure that they felt large. And so we used lighter colors, but we also wanted you not to forget you're at DSU. And so we gave you a little hint of color inside the units on different walls. So you still have that neutrality to make it your own personal touch with your own personal things, but also allowing you to have some color within the space. We also applied this in the kitchen unit, so instead of doing a backsplash, we used like a high performance paint and painted a different color to help give you that kind of upgraded feeling of not just being in an apartment complex, but having some sort of warmth and desire to be there. And then we warmed it up obviously by the wood, so the LVT is more of a modern interpretation of wood, but the cabinetry is that nice warm wood. And then the vanities obviously will continue that aesthetic and basically give you some adequate storage for your personal possessions, adding a little bit more of that warmth and that wood around the mirrors, and then really kind of allowing the space to have that modern feel, which I think is like DSU's new driving force behind the facilities they build, but also giving that warmth of kind of being at home or in that Midwest, that conservative feel. And then the last place that we add a little bit of color is that living space to kind of keep you awake and thriving, and then bringing in that natural light to make that space feel larger. And that's the interiors. Hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Thank you. Hi, I'm John with Journey Group. Be the construction manager for the project. I'm going to talk just briefly on a few different items. First, just give you an idea on schedule for the project. We're at an exciting point right now, working with the team here, just finishing up what are the construction documents ready to go out for bid. Those will be issued out on Monday, and then we will be receiving bids on March 5th. So it's right away here, quick turnaround. As far as seeing an impact on site, the intent would be the first week of April, we will be setting up a construction site to get a big push hitting into those summer months with the structure itself. Um, the structure part itself, as Javier alluded to, we have a 4-story precast structure. So we're looking at about 50-foot high precast panels that we'll be putting up this summer. Between the precast and getting the steel structure roof on, we're about a 3-month time frame for that. So by the end of September, we should have primarily, the shape that you're going to see, with the intent of having the roof on and closed around that Thanksgiving time. Overall, the push is, and we have a schedule that's definitely doable. We'd be looking at having our punch list in June and setting up for furniture installation so that it's well ready to go by that move-in date for fall 2021 semester. So a little bit on schedule, but overall, this will be Journey Group's 5th project here on Dakota State. And when we look at that, we look at what we have to control inside the fence, but more importantly, we care about you as the people that we have to interact with in order to do our job. So I kind of wanted to focus a little bit on this today and focusing on site logistics, how that's going to impact you on your everyday on campus. So briefly, just getting the bearings, here's the existing stair tower in the new building here. And with vacating A Street, this perimeter here is basically our site fence that we will have up during construction. But also, the people from the courtyard getting to the rest of the campus and vice versa, connectivity and back and forth is mainly what we want to address to make it as easy as possible through the construction. With that being in mind, coming from the east along Washington Avenue, we are working that we will put a temporary crosswalk up along Washington Avenue to get you across safely to the east side of Washington Avenue, get back to the corner, and then can be on your way there. As far as coming to the LEC or to the courtyard dormitory, if you're coming or traveling to the west, we can either come out of the doors at the lower level of the LEC or at the west side stair tower of the courtyard, connect over along Lee Avenue and safely cross along there as well. Our intent is to also additionally, from these places here, we'll have proper signage guiding you along the traffic, but then also here kind of the, you are here sign properly directing you out, as well as we will be emailing this out to all campus, so faculty and students, so that if you're in any of the other halls or whatever and needing to come north, that safe wayfinding through construction. We want to make it as easy as possible. It will be exciting, as Javier alluded to. The connectivity will be seamless, with the vacating of A Street and the green space here for continuous on campus when it's complete. And we understand that, it takes a little bit of time, that year and a half, some interruptions to maybe your flow for there, but we appreciate your patience and we want to make it as seamless and easy as possible during that time. And, just the excitement for when it's finished. Okay? With that, I think we'll open it up if there's any questions for the group. Right along here? Right. Yes. Actually, when that's complete, there will be the sidewalk there, but it'll actually be widened as well. Yes, there will be. We'll have access for that sidewalk there. Yes. This will still be open. The sidewalk will be just to the north of the sidewalk. This is actually a little bit off. It'll bump out, so there'll still be the traffic for deliveries there during construction as well. Yeah, at the completion of the project as well, there'll be additional sidewalk here along the delivery lane as well. And then when the green space is done, as the roadway goes away, the sidewalk actually gets widened. It'll be both, used as a sidewalk for traffic, but it'll also be used as a fire lane and items such as move in, move out weekends as well, traffic ways. I think it shows a little bit more. I wasn't going to touch the clickers.
So part of the priority was is to make sure that we still had we really wanted to focus on connecting the campus. So even though we took 8th Street to incorporate it, we turned it into a greenway, walking pedestrian facility, everything, so that by the time we're done, after construction, after they leave, there will be quite a bit of sidewalk. It'll be a wide thoroughfare, I think.
That sidewalk kind of doubles there.
Yeah, it gets quite a bit bigger. How to get everybody moving through. Otherwise, we'll have cattle paths.
Now, we'll get these out and around here, but on that sidewalk along here, we'll maintain open. There will be a little bit of a adjustment as we're doing a little bit of construction tie-in at the driveway there for limited times, but for the most part, it'll remain open. Our intent is to do that during summer times where it's a little bit off, and we also know to work continuously with the university, because we also know you have camps and stuff there too, trying to find that right window to do that work. Any other questions?
It is. There actually won't be any access from any unsecure access from the retail space into the apartment complex. We don't want anybody to just be able to come in the front doors of the retail and then go out the back side. Keep that as a pretty high priority for us. This isn't 100%, obviously. You can tell it's not flushed out. There's nothing in there, but that is something that we've been very conscious of.
So one of the things that we've been doing at the same time as we've designed this project is we're also looking at our Trojan Center master plan and projecting out needs for that for the next 5 years. But we know that due to our growth, we have additional opportunities for dining services for our students and our employees. And so that retail space will be a food and beverage space. We need to confirm the company that we will be, the products we will offer there, but it will also be part of Sodexo. And plans right now are that will be a site for students and employees for grab-and-go menu items, and that students will be able to use their cards and swipe. Working with Steve Bartle and Steve Johnson with Sodexo, we know that we need to adjust our food plans to allow some opportunities for additional flex dollars for our students and for employees to purchase those. So it's going to allow us to take some pressure off of the marketplace, but it's also going to allow more convenience and proximity for a large population of our students who are now living in the Courtyard and Residence Village. And we are going to view that as one living learning community. Not two separate, but one. As Steve has worked on the staffing plans for that space, he wants to view that as one large living learning community. So certainly we would welcome any questions. We have a few minutes. The other thing I'd encourage you to do before you leave is we did bring our color palettes and our selection materials that we're going to be using for the interior spaces and the exterior. Could one of our architect team give a little bit more information about the finish we're going to use on those precast panels? And we have a couple examples down there. Terry, could you do that?
So as we mentioned, the exterior is precast panels, and what that means is that they're made in a plant, and they come, you'll see them sometimes running down the road on a big semi. So what it is on the outside is 4 inches. In this particular case, we have 4 inches of concrete, and then there's 4 inches of insulation, and that's where we get the more sustainable system because we can keep this place insulated really well. And then the interior, which provides our interior finish, is 4 inches of more concrete. So this is actually a really good system for noise as well. So you won't be able to hear as much street noise and things like that because of this panel. And if you look down here and look at the renderings at the same time, is that you can see some differences in what is more of this lighter tone, and it gives some character to the building. And what that is what you're looking at right here. Around the windows will be this more exposed aggregate look of precast, and all that is they treat this finish a little bit different to expose all the rocks that are actually in the panel together. So this is the smoother finish. And then we had looked at several different bricks with the team, and this was the selected thin brick. So it actually gets cast into the precast. It's not applied later. It's not stacked in front of this system or anything. It's actually a part of the panel. So when these guys, Journey shows up and starts erecting this stuff, these big panels, these 50-foot panels are going to show up as the finished, and it's going to look like it goes up real fast, and it looks really actually pretty cool. So if you see the crane come, that's when it's going to start real quick. So it goes real fast, and then it's a good solution for a campus because of the lifetime effect. This is going to last many, many years, and it's going to be a good system for the campus as well because of that, and also because it's actually a really efficient energy-wise. So it's a great system, and it's really awesome that it's going to be coming. It's really fun to watch go up is what I'm getting at, I guess.
The other thing I should quickly add, a decision that we made, all the windows in the bedroom units will be operable.
Correct.
So that's going to add in comfort level for our students. They're going to have the ability to open and close those windows and help adjust their temperature and comfort level. So I think that's going to be a nice upgrade for the project also.
Yep, they're all operable windows.
What's going to be the composition of the interior walls? Like for sound deafening inside and
So, Javi, do you want to answer that one?
So,
I know what they are, but.
okay. There are multiple type of walls. Basically, we have the ones that are within inside of the semi-suite or the apartment, and then the ones that are between the private spaces and the public spaces. And we really pay a lot of attention at those walls. Those walls, they have 2 layers of drywall on one side, then we have bad insulation, and then we have another layer of drywall on the other side. So it's a little bit thicker than a usual wall. And what it does is the combination of materials that we have addresses the high and the low frequencies of noises. The other part that is beyond the wall and the noise is also the materials and the way that the mechanical system has been designed in order to have vibration isolation dampers, so that vibration doesn't translate into the rest of the structure, basically. So the
Yeah, we actually looked at 3 potential construction techniques for this project. We originally thought when we went to the board office, we weren't going to be able to afford a precast building, but due to some very favorable bond rates and some good work by Stacy Kruzmark, he's not here, so don't tell him we said he did a good job. But we were able to adjust the budget and go with the most durable construction technique, which is the precast panels. And that is going to have some major implications for the comfort of the residents there. Our architectural team has talked about sound dampening, longevity of the building, ongoing maintenance costs for Steve's team and Corey's team. But being able to get to that, what we would consider best construction technique, was a big accomplishment for the team, and want to give kudos to the architects for helping us get there. Vaughn, did you have a question?
Right. Yeah, well, ADA, what we are applying is the ADA 2010, which is the new updated, I know it's 10, but it's updated version of it. So what we have is we have more accessible units than what is required because of two conditions. One is the concept of visitability, the fact that if you are in one floor, you can go and visit your friend, and even if it's a temporary situation with a leg or whatever it is. The other one is that we need to apply one for each unit type. So once we start, since we have multiple unit types, by the time that we have one per unit type, we end up more than what is required. And we divide it in several floors. We also have some with the rolling shower, and we have some others that have the transfer shower, the 36 by 36. So we have the two types are addressed on the showers type.
Chris?
Inside, well, depending on the weather. If I'm on campus, probably it's bad weather. So, but there is we really thought a lot between going through the first floor and making sure that only those that live in the courtyard are able to do that. Because this is, as we talked about before, this is a one larger community, only those. So there will be control and access cars at the stair connecting to the courtyard and of course at the main entrance.
Chris, when you look at the size of the population that will live in this unit, the courtyard in Residenceville, it's well within proportions for residence facilities at much larger campuses, but it will be a secure facility. So the only students that are going to be able to take advantage of that are those courtyard students and those residence village students. A student from Richardson is not going to have access to have free reign throughout that facility.
But they will have access to the food and beverage venue through the outside only.
Terry, can you pull up one of the exteriors that would show the south side of the building? Just, we should make a couple comments. I think there's a little bit better one that would a different angle. We're still working out some details, but on that retail space, we've envisioned perhaps a canopy and a courtyard with seating for customers. We haven't gotten quite that far. Those are things that would get added, but dressing that south side of the retail space up. We're also planning on having some dedicated parking spots for customers who want to pull up and use that space. And then the main entrance, again, will be on the south side of that retail space for the entire campus. Nathan.
This, I can somewhat address it on here too. Of course, we do traffic studies and study the size of the semis that go to for deliveries there. You're right that this path is eliminated. However, there are other route paths that we talked about. You know, with Egan being a main thoroughfare, the thought process is that they would come on Egan, come down on 8th, and then Lee Avenue there, so that is called a hammerhead. So they would turn there and then back in here with a clean access route there, keeping the parking further to the north so that there's no issues with routing.
Additional questions?
Yeah, I have one more question. As a DSU staff member, I think this is really exciting. And I also think as a community member, I live right off the
Corey hasn't spoken yet, so we're going to give him a chance.
Okay. Yeah, so we have had many discussions with the city commission on that. I think the first advertisement went out last week. I believe we meet to finalize that closure on the 24th. There's been a lot of meetings and a lot of work that went into actually closing that because we had to get an easement, or we had to give the city an easement for the utilities. And I think, so it should be out there. I know the mayor had went around and talked to several neighbors in the neighborhood before, and several commissioners had as well. So, but that should be on the city commission minutes right now.
We have time for one or two questions, and then we can wrap up and get everyone back to class or their offices. Vaughn.
The construction budget is 10.9.
We are in the process of submitting meal plan and residence hall rates to the board office as we speak, Vaughn. Stacy also calculated those rental fees into the pro forma when we went to the board office to get this project approved. But they will be very consistent with current rates. There's certainly going to be an adjustment due to inflation, but we'll be submitting those within the next 4 or 5 days. Thing I'd like to point out, I think it's a given, but with the 4 and 6 bedroom units, all students are going to have their own bedroom, which is going to be a nice perk for our students. The other thing is right now the plans are for our upperclassmen to be housed here. Right now we're thinking juniors and seniors, but we need to continue to work with Steve's team and fine tune some of those criteria. The good news is we have about 1.5 years to get that figured out. But though, just so you know, you are now the experts on Residence Village. Help share the message, but that's our intent for the plan. We'll give time for one more question if someone has a burning question. President Griffiths.
Looking at some of your renderings, can we make sure that all the hexagons point upwards? Our hexagons are special ones, they only go up. Appreciate it.
And for the record, President Griffiths shared that with me after cabinet. I did send Terry an email asking that we get that done. Again, thank you for coming. We appreciate your time. This is a really exciting project for campus. As President Griffiths likes to say, DSU is rising. This is going to only add to our momentum. And if you have time, our team will stick around. Corey and I and Steve will stick around, but please come down and take a look at the materials. Thank you.